Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or my list and sideboard guides before tournaments, check out Patreon or the YouTube membership program. This channel is made possible by these amazing sponsors. Check out all their links in the video description below. Once again, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I've got some Modern for you, and this is a spicy take on Indomitable Creativity from Patreon subscriber Mr. Skittles. Indomitable Creativity is a top deck, if not the top deck in Modern. It's typically a 5-color deck. It uses Teferi and Leyline Binding as efficient removal, and Fable of the Mirror Breaker with Teferi and Wrenn and 6 to play kind of a pseudo-control game while it quietly assembles a combo in the background. This build of the deck does not have any white in it. In fact, it barely has any black in it. It's almost rug. There is 1 Persist and the 3 Archons as black cards. Everything else is in the rug/Temur range. And what we're doing instead of the stability of Teferi is the speed of Explore. Because generally what this deck does is uses Dwarven Mine to make 1/1 dwarf creature tokens, and it turns those into Archon of Cruelty with Indomitable Creativity. There's a real clock on this deck that it can't pop before turn 4. Explorer lets you pop on turn 3, which completely changes the math of how to play against this deck. Explorer can also dig you to hardcast Archon sooner, which is a thing that definitely happens. You have Prismari Command that makes treasures, you have Fable that makes treasures, Wrenn and 6 hits all your land drops. It's not hard to pivot into the late game of casting Archons, and Explorer gets you there faster. Because we don't have the same removal, we've got some extra counter spells, Mana Leak on top of the spell pierces that are pretty stock in this type of deck. Got Fire Ice to tempo or burn along the way. Transmogrify functions as an extra creativity. And that 1 of Persist combos with Fable of the Mirror Breaker and Prismari Command. You can dump an Archon and poop it back into play with the Reanimate spell instead. I've played Creativity on the channel before. If you watch any Modern content creator, you've seen Creativity before. This is a very common known deck in the metagame. And we're just going on this different take of it. Almost rug, just a little black for Persist, and no Teferi, no Leyline Binding. Let's go do this thing. We're going fast, we're going hard. I'm on the draw in round 1 with some interaction and a lineup to Creativity. I'll keep it. Opponent's on 6. Just pass to me with a Scalding Tarn. You got it. Ooh, we found the Explorer. Let's go. Turn 3 Creativity. Basically steal the play from the opponent. I hope this isn't a Creativity mirror, but if it is, we just stole the going first from the opponent, kind of. Steam Vents and Street Wraith. Oh, okay, we're Living End. That's awful. I don't mind going a turn faster against this deck, though I'm probably just have to hold up Mana Leak. Oh wow, Mana Leak and Spell Pierce. Oh, I can explore and hold up Spell Pierce. This rules. Green red. To draw a card, I can play Arid Mesa, which represents Steam Vents. Unless they force a negation me. Okay, they didn't do that. That would have been pretty uncool. Okay, now I can Spell Pierce their thing and present a Creativity next turn. Kind of a banger line. If they grief me, it is what it is. If they pass the turn, I have Spell Pierce and Mana Leak to beat a force. Yeah, I'm not going to fetch right now. Now I can fetch. So if I fetch now, I think I just play Stomping Ground tapped. Because if I fetch and they go in response, then Force of Negation does beat me. I like having up 2 counter spells. The graveyard is not that tasty, actually. A Violent Outburst. I'll Spell Pierce this. Okay, 1 down. Now if they untap and shove Shardless Agent, that's 2 down. If they just pass the turn into me, I'm still holding up Mana Leak. And now I can get on the board. I do have 3 other mountains. Dwarven Mine Beatdown begins now. And I'll simply pass the turn. Cycle to Architects. Cycle to Street Wraith. I guess I should have played Fable. What am I doing here? I had 3 mana up. Yeah, I probably should have played Fable here. A leak. Have you found a force since the last time we talked about this? Oh, cool. Okay, I'll pass the turn. Yeah, I don't know why Fable's not in play. That doesn't make any sense. I think I was looking at creativity and transmogrify, and I was like, yeah, I can't do anything else this turn. Those cost too much, but I have a 3-mana play. Bad news bears. Oh god, they just have the third Shardless Agent. Okay. Well, they're going to get a board full of stuff, and then I can creativity them. Yeah, there's not a card I could draw into here. I don't think that Archon beats this board 1v1. If I draw a fetch land, I can make a second dwarf and get 2. I'm going to fetch for 1 now because they just architected me. I know they're going to take my best card. Okay, I'll put a Dwarven Mine into play and hope to draw a fetch land or Dwarven Mine. Probably want to fire Shardless Agent because that's their worst creature. If I can get that out of the way, Archon will kill something better. Alright, come on, fetch land. Let's go. Bummer. I guess I just transmogrify then. Save my creativity. I can't afford to explore. If I miss the land drop, it's just catastrophic. Okay, transmogrify, save the creativity. Archon shows up, takes their last card in hand. They're out of living ends. All 3 of them are used. I have to actually win this race somehow. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I mean, not that far off. 2 cards left in their hand. Brazen Borrower's a beating. Just gotta shove the squad. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm thinking about Fire Ice right now. I don't think that's a card they normally play. But if I block Street Wraith, I don't lose to that. Oh, Violent Outburst. Does that kill me? 8. Violent Outburst kills Archon if I block this snake. So 8, 13, 17, 21. Okay, I'm still not dead if I block Street Wraith to Violent Outburst. They would have Brazen Borrowed pre-combat, so that's not what's happening here. I can, at the very least, attack, get a trigger, then creativity my Archon into a different Archon. And if I draw a fetch land, we're cooking. Okay, cooking. An attack. I get you for a trigger. Another fetch land. Discarded a Force of Negation. Are we going to chump with Subtlety? Oh, I love that. Now I know their hand is empty, and I'm going to get 2 more Archons this turn. Oh, you have to jump with Subtlety. Right, you're dead. I always forget how quick Archon damage adds up. Shit's bonkers. And this is why I transmogrified last turn instead of creativity. Now I can go for 2. There are exactly 2 hits left in my deck. I could explore here, but if I draw one of the Archons, I'm going to freak out. So I'm just going to flip into my Archons now. And my opponent's actually just dead to the triggers. Dope. Okay. That was fun. I missed sneaking a Fable into play. The Goblin would have died immediately to the living end, but still just having Fable in the selection would have gone a long way there. Okay. Flusterstorm is for this matchup. Abundant Growth is sweet tech. I didn't talk about it in the deck tech. This is specifically to play around Blood Moon, because the way layers work is that Blood Moon turns lands into mountains, and then Abundant Growth grants the ability to tap for any color, and Abundant Growth beats Blood Moon no matter what order they come into play. It's not a timestamp thing. So this was bugged on Magic Online last time I interacted with it. I hope that is fixed, because that's the whole point of this. Iona on black means they can't combo. Iona on blue, or I guess Iona on green also means they can't combo, because both of their Cascade enablers are green. Do I want Iona, or do I just want to guarantee Archon is the hit? I'll put that in the maybes. Lightning Bolt not doing a lot of work in this matchup. Yeah, I think it's just Bolt that comes out. Veil of Summer stuffs a Grief, and it can beat Force of Negation. I think one of those is better than a Bolt as well. Fire Ice kind of has the same problem. Yeah, I'll just go all the way in on this. Protect the important spells plan. Get off the burn. Okay. We've got a mana leak and a Ren and 6. I'll keep these. Bono went to 5. Good start, but they don't need that many cards to beat me, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't really play Ren and 6 here. I need to hold up the mana for mana leak. I'm going to fetch for the Temur Triome, though. They got the Sunken Ruins tech. That's so you can cast Grief later on. A lot of builds of Living End just did not even have the ability to do that for a long time. It was just like, if I draw Grief, too bad. I've also seen Urborg in that spot, which casts Grief and gives Street Wraith unblockable. It's exciting stuff all around. I'm going to play a fetch land and pass. I don't think I need Boseiju in this matchup. Cycled a couple of Architects in my end step. We're getting a pass into my turn. All they need is Force Blue card and a Violent Outburst here, and they're in business. I can't fetch ever. Not until this Boseiju's in play. Alright, now I'm playing Boseiju and passing the turn. It's super awkward missing land drops when you have Ren and 6 in your hand. Or we're going straight into Cast My Spells mode. We're going to cast a Grief here, cast a Curator of Mysteries. Looks like Grief's coming. You know what counters Grief? Mana Leak. Spell Pierce doesn't hit him. You don't normally have to play around this, but we're playing Mana Leak here today. And this window lets me resolve Ren and 6, so I can fetch here and Ren and still hold up Mana Leak for next turn. Guess I probably just want Jund Triome, though if I leave Triome in my deck, I can draw it and loop it later with Ren. I'm probably going to use a fetch land to get a blue source here. Or if I get a blue source, I can threaten fetching Dwarven Mine. Yeah, that's the play. I'm going to get Seaman Step. I drew Bloodstained Mire for my turn. I'm going to play the Ren and 6 as advertised. And drawing the land is nice because even if they force a negation to this Ren, which I don't think is a play they would make even if they had it, but that means I can still hold up Mana Leak even if they did. And they're about to untap and they can land drop ahead of Spell Pierce, but once again, I got Mana Leak. And I'm threatening a double Archon next turn. Got some 5 mana spell here. Oh, they suspended Living End. What a nightmare. Ugh. Sucks for that. Okay. I think the only counter spells they play are, well, they have the Force of Negation, which if they do that, they're Hellbent. And if my creativity resolves, they're also Hellbent. So I'm just going for a creativity for 2 here. That gives them... Oh, right. I have Iona in my deck, too. So I got options here. The Arid Mesa. Dwarven Mine. Oh, no! I fucked up! Boseiju is not a mountain. Shit. Okay. Well, I guess we're slowing down. Why didn't you warn me, chat? Okay, now I have 3 mountains. Son of a biscuit. That was a huge mistake. I could put creativity on the stack. Yeah, I think that they are untapping into playing around Mana Leak anyway, and the suspend Living End's pretty embarrassing. I can get them down to 1 card, which, if it's a Cascader, is good enough. Alright, backup creativity gives me a little bit of cushion. Yeah, that was embarrassing. It's just, there's 1 land in the deck that's not a mountain, and it's that one. My bad. Okay, they are top decking. Any Cascader gives them a big board presence. But let's just hope they brick. Okay, they're passing the turn. They do this, Mana Leak is good against Violent Outburst. There's no way they pass the turn here if they actually have it. Okay, plus Ren on Arid Mesa. Play that and get an attack through. What are we doing? Oh, Otawara on my creature. That works. Nothing I can do about this. 2 damage on a target. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I've been Ottawar'd. In the second main, how much can I do here? If I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I explore, I can creativity for 2. Explore. Yeah, the Dwarven Mines work now. For real, for real. This is going to end up being Iona and Archon. And I'm going to name black because they have the thing suspended. I would have named green if they didn't have that on suspend, but all right, cool. Yeah, a little Beseiju related snafu there in game 2 and missing a Fable game 1. Not playing perfectly, but it doesn't matter. We're just at a crazy power level. The Explorer was sick in both game 1 and 2 there. That tech has already paid off. Let's go. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7-Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7-Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7-Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7-Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the play in round 2. I have this Ren and 6 start that doesn't have a fetch land to go with it. I'm still going to keep it because Ren is great. There's lots of fetch lands in the deck, but it's not currently a source of card advantage. So a turn 2 Ren is just pretty dope against Ragavan or Memnite or many of the things that happen in this format. Dragon's Rage Chandler. Not so good against Goblin Guide. Ugh. Maybe this will draw me the fetch land I'm looking for. There's Mari Command on top of my deck. Okay. Playing Beseiju is awkward because that's a great answer to Eidolon of the Great Revel, but I also would like to fire this. Yeah, I'm going to play the Beseiju. I'm going to fire the Goblin Guide after it attacks. Or before attacks if they play a Eidolon. What do we got here? Fire Ice on top of the deck. Also Fire Ice in the hand. This isn't pretty. My third land's going to come into play tapped. Ren and 6 doesn't even draw a card. They didn't play a creature, though. Alright, I'm going to play Ren and 6 and plus. The pretty enormous crap house of a start here, but we are at 18 at the start of turn 3 against Burn. But I now expect their hand to be full of spells. There's 3 from that. Good news is if we get an Archon into play, that gains a lot of life. Bad news is one of my lands, once again, is the Beseiju. I'm a turn behind here. Hey, Goblin Guide, maybe feed me? Can we get one? Nope. Another Prismari Command. And there's no blue mana here. It's gonna plus and pass. Yeah, so they know about Fire Ice, and they see me missing land drops, and they're just like, I'm not gonna attack, thanks. Still gonna fire Goblin Guide, though. I just don't want that in play. I don't want my mana tied up if I miss land drops. Or if I hit land drops. Hey. Holy moly, kids. What does this do? I can fetch for... I don't really want to take damage, but I do want to draw the card with Ren and get the value. I guess I don't really get to do both. Alright, I'll just sit on the fetch land for a turn. I can get Steam Vents if I need to Prismari Command. I'm representing creativity next turn. Yep. I'm at 10. Alright, I'll fetch a tapped source of blue in the end step. Just gonna get Ketria Triome. This game's not gonna go long enough for me to get into the cycling endgame. Arid Mesa to my hand. Play Arid Mesa, and might as well explore because I can Prismari Command off of a basic this turn, or off of a Fable's interesting. But that turns on Searing Blaze, but I guess I'm going to turn on Searing Blaze eventually. Yeah, I guess I just get a Dwarven Mine and play Fable here, and hope I'm still alive. This is super awkward. 5 cards in hand against my 8 life, and they have 3 open mana. Forget about it. And they haven't cracked this fetch. I think they have Searing Blaze. And they missed a land drop, so we know their whole hand is spells. They didn't play a creature. It's just all fire. We're dead. Yep, to the surprise of nobody. They did not bolt me, though. I'm at 1, and they have a red in the pool. Doesn't look good. Okay, yep. Yeah, that awkward start against exactly this matchup gives you no time to figure it out. Fair enough. They weather the storm coming in. That is what this card is for. Pretty aggressive burn hate, but when I was working with Mr. Skittles, he said that burn is a tough matchup, and I feel you. Bolt is important. Is explore important? Am I gonna... I guess going faster is always good against burn. I don't think I can play Transmogrify. Their deck is literally just mono removal spells. The treasures are the more reliable thing to target with my creativity effects. Mana Leak is just a less efficient version of Flusterstorm. For the most part, Mana Leak counters Eidolon, but I can go over the top of Eidolon with this deck. I like Persist a lot. I like Spell Pierce a lot. Maybe I have to shave an Explore and a Fire Ice. I think Explore and Fire Ice are the last cards that are left to cut here. And do I cut a removal spell? Or the ramp spell? Like, can I just not cut a removal spell against burn? Nature's Claim is still on my sideboard too, which can target one of my treasures to gain 4 life in an emergency, but I don't think I need to go that deep. I have Weather the Storm. Okay, I'm gonna do it like this. Spell Pierce. All my blue effects are in my hand. If they turn one, or all my blue lands, if they turn one Goblin Guide, just under the gun, I am gonna keep this. Is there any fetchable blue source? I think there's just the 2 Steam Vents. Yep, just the 2 Steam Vents in the deck. I'm not going to shock in the Steam Vents, so I might as well play Bloodstained Mire and get my Catria Triome. Opponent's got a Sacred Foundry to start the game. Please just suspend Riftbolt. Oh, Ragavan. That's cheating. That's not a burn card. I'm mad now. I'm going to get Catria Triome. Hey. Okay. I think shocking in is worth it here, because the Ragavan's going to deal 2 damage anyway, and Spell Pierce represents somewhere between 3 and 4 life, just leaving my mana up. I'm not mad about. And I'm going to bolt in combat. And even if they have Boros Storm to give it indestructible, I will counter that. That's handled. Blue-red. What does this deck do with blue-red? Dang. Get rid of that. Okay, cool. That turn worked out extremely well. Worth the shock. Unless I draw a fetch land, I'm going to have to shock again. Oh, dope. Okay. Basic land. Fable. Let's go. Save the damage. Fable gives me an object to creativity. I have the Mine in hand, which is another object to creativity. If this goblin attacks, it's a treasure. If it doesn't attack, it means they've reacted to it at sorcery speed. So that taps their mana on their turn. Suspended Riftbolt. Don't care about that. I'll have several Archons in play before that comes down. Does Burn splash for Hallowed Moonlight? That would tilt me off pretty hard. I'm going to discard the 2 lands that aren't Dwarven Mine. Oh, sick. Yeah, that was pretty good. Get an attack in here. If they have Bolt, they can stop my action here. But if they have Bolt, that I gain 6 life. I think that's a fine deal. In 1 bolt stops one of them, but I get a flip on the other. Oh yeah. Iona on red? How do you feel about that? Another snap concession to Iona. Now they know about that. Okay. That went pretty well. I don't think my deck is going to change here. On the draw, the Nature's Claim has a little bit more interest. Now I know they have Ragavan. I think I want Fire Ice more than I want Explore. That's just such a weird card to put in burn. It's the old value burn over there. Yeah, I have Lightning Bolt, Wrenn and 6, and Fire Ice that can tango with a Rag. Do I want my other Boseiju? They do have Eidolon of the Great Revel and Roiling Vortex. If I'm doing this, what's the cut? Because it is a spell. It's not a land for land count purposes, for mountain count purposes. We've already been burned by that once this league. LOL, burned. I think Prismari Command is the most awkward card left here. Let's go. Yeah, if I board in Weather the Storm and my opponent boards in Roiling Vortex, I should plan for answers to Roiling Vortex. This hand is pretty slow and bad. Wrenn and 6 is the only, like, air quotes interaction I have. I'm going to send this. I mean, Flusterstorm is better than the things I was doing. Still not happy with this, but Fable does a lot of work. I only have 1 Persist in my deck, so keeping the Archon, hoping to spike it. I've played builds with 2 and 3 Persist, where maybe I keep the Archon and try to Fable it away for the cheese from the graveyard. But not this build. Monastery Swiftspear. Good start. Lightning Bolt. Ooh, creativity. I'll take that. Bloodstained Mire and pass. And this Flusterstorm is just going to be a math problem. Like if they Boros Charm, it saves me 2 life to fluster it. If they Lightning Bolt, it would only save me 1 life to fluster it, and maybe I just wait. Okay. So it's probably Eidolon then, if they have 2 mana and didn't cast any spells before combat with their Swift Spear. Treatment Triumph, get in. Okay, interesting. The basic land lets me Fable pretty pain-free. If I play Blood Crypt now, tapped, and then I don't even have to take 1 from my fetches, and I can get Fable down. Lightning Helix. I think I'm just gonna Fluster. Them not doing it on their turn when I would have had to Fetch Shock to do it just makes this straight up 3 life. And Fluster doesn't counter the Vortex. If this was Spell Pierce, I probably would have waited. Sacred Foundry. Jock it in. Yeah, there's Vortex. The Lightning Helix was a bait spell, but my counter spell didn't counter it anyway. We're just hanging out on that one. Kiki Jiki. Get a little goblin guy in there. Guy, not guide. Opponent. Don't get smart with me. And Iona still fucks here, even if... And Archon still fucks here too. They have to discard a card and I get a 6/6 and draw a card, even if it doesn't gain life. And they have to leave up red to stop me from gaining life. And creativity still is just gonna be a banger if I can get to it. I don't really cast spells for 0 mana in this deck. I'd love to see them just draw a card with Sunbaked Canyon. Just out of gas, refill me. That's my dream scenario. Oh wow, just 3 mana Skewer the Critics on my Goblin token. Deal. That's cool. If they tap this Canyon, they just lose, but they know that, so they're not going to do it. Boseiju, who endures? I'm going to discard these 2 fetch lands. And now I have a real choice to make. I could just shove a 1-point creativity into this Roiling Vortex and open mana. I could try to survive a second turn. If I wait, I'll have... Okay, I'm going to play Dwarven Mine this turn. And I'm just going to pass, because next turn I can creativity for 2, even if I block. And I can clear the Vortex in between. And if they're at the Skewer the Critics for 3 to clear your 2/2 stage of the game, then they're trying to play control. And I'm not going to let them play control. And I can only do this for 2 anyway. I mean, but 1 damage, 3... Yeah, I'll just block. Don't want to just suddenly die when I'm presenting the giant double-layered win next turn. Seiju your Vortex. This does give them mana, which they can Sunbaked Canyon and cast more spells. If they have 2 bolts, good job. But at least that's 2 bolts that aren't going to my face and aren't buffing Swift Spear in combat. I can even... Oh no, I blocked. I was about to say I could target 2 dwarves and keep my Kiki Jiki, but that's not even true. Dwarven Mine. Okay, this is the move that I set up. We'll see if it paid off. Drawing a card in response is reasonable. Clearing 1 of them. That's 4 damage I didn't take between the Bolt and the Prowess. And Path to Exile, okay. And my basic's already in play, bummer. No love there. Look at my deck. Okay. They did get through that, but it's 4 damage I didn't take, and a Path to Exile out of the way. I mean, I gotta rebuild now. My hand has nothing in it. Boros Charm, that's 6. I'm at 5. Skewer, I'm at 1. Ugh. Alright, yeah, well played, opponent. I think I waited as long as I could, because I was dead to that handful of burn anyway next turn. So, yeah, they were able to sit back into the controlling posture and keep me off balance exactly as long as they needed to. GG's. On to the next one. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting Commander events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 4-player Swiss-structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no downloads required. You can get access for just $5 at eminence.events/subscribe. I'm on the play in round number 3. I've got some interaction on my way up to a creativity. I'll keep. Hope this is a matchup where creature removal's good. Play a fetch land and pass. Botanical Sanctum. So Living End, probably. I think that's the primary deck that plays Sanctum. If I ice them this turn, doesn't do much. If I ice them next turn, it takes them off their combo for a turn. Okay, I'm gonna play Stomping Ground tapped. Yep, Living End it is. You can get a lot of information from a single land drop. You use that stuff. Do your homework. So we go to my turn. Maybe I'm supposed to bolt in the end step, just try to get some tempo moving. Yeah, bolt's not gonna kill anything. Yeah, I think I just missed 3 damage in case that ends up mattering. I am gonna ice them on their upkeep. I guess I can still bolt in the end step. The Waker. Ice and buy myself a turn here. I might be able to cycle with this mana and still use it, but at least they're not cascading right now. Ren and 6 to my hand. Tapped Breeding Pool. Okay. Chilling. Do I want to bolt in the end step? I think so. Put some damage on them. Another bolt. Okay. So if I play Ren and 6, pick up a land, and I can't really do anything else this turn. I could play the Fable, but that just dies to anything they have. I think my plan is to let them combo, and then I jam a multi-Archon response on my turn. I still get blown out by Force of Negation, and they haven't cycled with their mana in the entire turn cycle, so good chance they have some interaction in their hand. They're passing the turn to me. Send another bolt upstairs. Just keep softening them up. If they go on the end step, that's actually really bad for me. Oh, going now is great, though. Okay, cool. That's fine. It sucks, but I mean, it resolves, and I have a plan to play through it. If they had waited until I go for creativity, then the Living End also counters creativity because it kills all my creatures. I'll draw for turn. If they have the Force, it doesn't matter. Dwarven Mine. If they don't have the Force, I'm winning, though. Dwarven Mine. Moment of Truth. Yep, okay. There's that. So now what do I do? Bloodstained Mire. Pick up with Ren. They have 14, 19, 22 coming my way, and I do have 2 blockers. At least presently. No swamps in play. The Force pitched a Shardless Agent. Okay. I probably block 1 Waker with a Dwarf and then hope to draw another creativity. Block 1 of the 7s. Violent Outburst also kills me, but that's fine. I'm not going to play around that. It turns out they have it. It's all good. I was losing a game where I double block anyway, and this is good for damage, and they decline their Living End. Let's look at their deck. Looks like pretty standard Living End stuff. And we're dead. Okay. Flusterstorm comes in. Iona comes in. I did the Veils last time too. I think that's reasonable still. Lightning Bolt and Fire Ice can go out. Fire Ice has more utility. Yeah. Fire Ice does more than Lightning Bolt does for the matchup. At least I can like take them off the combo for a turn like I did that game. But otherwise, here we go. No counter spells here, which is the main thing that I want. Basically no interaction at all. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, Veil of Summer plays. If they grief me, I'm ready. If they counter back, I'm ready to figure out what the bottom here is. It's tempting to send the Dwarven Mine. Missing a land drop would be a disaster, but this isn't a land drop until I have 4 lands anyway. So maybe it's Explore. Yeah, I'm not going to tap out for Explore. I'd rather guarantee my land drop. I have to lead on Scalding Tarn in case they Veil me right now. Or grief me so I can Veil back. We got a Street Wraith. Hey! I have been griefed. I will fetch for Stomping Ground and stuff this. Stomping Ground. Yes. And Veil. Love when a plan comes together. The old 3 for 0 play. It's never really a 3 for 0 because the Grief in the graveyard has value later, but it always feels real good up front to do that. Okay, I'm going to play Ketria Triome now. It didn't cycle anything off this Beseju. Wow, you kept a 1-lander? What's going on? A 1-lander on the draw with Grief Street Wraith? I suppose that's not unreasonable. But it lets me shove this Fable into play on turn 3. Not normally a thing you can afford to do. I wonder if they also have Force of Negation. They kept this hand for a reason, right? And is this enough reason to keep a 1-lander that doesn't even cycle? Oh, a second Grief. Okay. Grief pitching Grief. They had a million Griefs. I'm gonna probably lose my creativity here. But Persist is pretty cool too, especially with the Fable on board. Still missing land drops. Let's go. Archon off the top. Call the cops. I will discard Dwarven Mine and Archon. Oh my god, I can protect my Persist with Spell Pierce. This is messed up. Blood Crypt. Persist. They're probably going to discard some monster. That's good with Living End, but I don't care because they will be dead before then. That was a pretty good turn. Is there anything they can do from 1 mana? I don't think so. I can just jam this other Fable now. Alright. Good luck. Have fun. That was a weird one. Opponent kept a speculative hand that didn't get there. I've been guilty of that on this channel, for sure. But on the draw with a Street Wraith and Grief to take a poke, I understand the appeal. I'm going to go in. They still haven't seen a counterspell out of me in 2 games. Ooh. I have the Veil, but they get to Grief me first, and this hand is not that good otherwise. I'm going to mulligan this. It's already a 6 because of Iona. I can't even persist her because she's a legend. Holy crap, look at this hand. Ape. And send... I think I send the creativity. I'll just figure that out later and have this wall of interaction up first. And they didn't have the Grief. That's the good start. Bloodstained Mire, pass. And the Veil, we brought it in because it answers both Grief and Force. So if they try to go off on my turn with Force of Negation backup, Veil of Summer will be online by then. I'm going to get the Ketria Triome online. That does both of the things. And there's the creativity I bottomed on my mulligan. It'll always show up. Don't worry about it. Take your time. Oh, no cycles. What's going on in their hand? Kind of scary, actually. Okay, they just drew a cycler. They could have done that in the end step and didn't. I think that was their draw for the turn. And were they about to miss a land drop? Was that why they did it in the way that they did? I was always trying to reverse engineer my opponent's plays. I think I just want Steam Vents here, but there's a Steam Vents in my hand. Proving Ground. That gives me a Swamp for Street Wraith, but that's not really how I'm going to win or lose this game anyway. If the 3 points of Swamp Walk come up, something has already gone wrong. Now I have kind of a spooky choice to make, which is play Ren and hope that Spell Pierce can get me through the turn, or just put up the wall and make sure I don't die. I'm going to put up the wall and make sure I don't die. If I draw a land next turn, I can Ren with Pierce Veil. But if they make their next 2 land drops, Pierce isn't good enough anymore. But if my read on last turn was accurate, okay, they found another land, a land that they would have played last turn if they had it. So I think they cycled Architect's main phase last turn to hit their land drop, and then they just drew this one. We have reasonable reasons to believe that that's what's going on. Am I taking the risk? I think I am. Green, red. This is so good if it works. And I'm not like just dead if they go up in response. They only have 6 power in the graveyard. It's not even that threatening, and they have to beat a Spell Pierce to do it. And then if Ren's in, I can Transmogrify next turn, or set up a Veil Protected Creativity 2 turns out. They could also try to hardcast Force of Negation right now if they want to slow me down. It looks like we're just in on this. They could have Endurance. That would be annoying. I don't have a good answer to that. All right, cool. They had none of the above, and I'm just casting spells now. Let's go. Instead of Violent Outburst, I'm going to point a Spell Pierce at this, and I can fetch Stomping Ground still. Spell Pierce that. First appearance of Counter Magic in this matchup. So they did have it. They could have done this before I had 2 mana up and chose to wait for my end step. Okay, Counterspell happened after a long thinking period. I suspect they do have Force over there. Or they could just Cascade again on their turn. But like I said, the Cascade isn't that good. Shocked in land number 5, so they're playing around Spell Pierce now. Okay. This is only 6 power. This is not a big deal. Or it's 8 with the Shardless Agent. But I can make a Veil Protected Archon on my turn. Targeting themselves with Architects of Will. That makes sense because I have a fetch land. And I'm going to do all my fetching on my turn. If they have Brazen Borrower, then they could bounce a Dwarf in my end step without me being able to Veil to protect it. Plus Ren on Bloodstained Mire. These are all mountains. Had to check. Not a mistake you make twice in the same league, especially when people are watching. Gonna get 2 of these buddies out, but I'm only going to target 1. They have played around Spell Pierce like a boss, and I'm going to Transmogrify. I can save my creativity for big moves in the future. And nothing here can be Mystical Disputed. They have Brazen Borrower and Force Negation. They can slow me down. Veil of Summer on that. Force Pitching Shardless Agent. Okay, we're in there. I would rather have Archon than Iona here, but okay, there's Iona. From here, I named green, I think. And blue stops Brazen Borrower and Shardless Agent. I guess I'll say blue. That also stops all their counter spells, so I can Creativity next turn. Okay. We have reached a board state where Street Wraith having Swamp Walk matters. It's not killing me, but it does matter. Brazen Borrower's off, Counterspell's off, Subtlety's off. Street Wraith going face. I can Creativity for 2 this turn, and they can't interact with it. I guess they could Living End in response. Do I even care? I'm going to attack with my 7/7 and see if they have thoughts about that before I do anything else. Otawara works. Opponent's at 7. Turn a land in my hand. Mine. I'm only going for 2. I want to keep the Iona. Getting 3 Archons, if assuming everything works, kills them. But this is close enough. Oh, if I had minus Ren instead of plus, that's actually exactly lethal. And Ren still kills them next turn. I did miss lethal this turn, and you can call me out in the comments for that. Drew Veil. They're drawing off the top. If it is exactly Violent Outburst, they can sweep this board up, but then they die to Ren. Okay, they're dead. Cool. Veil of Summer Tech, too good. Okay, sweet. 2-1. On to the next round. Keep it rolling. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the play with an interactive hand that curves into Fable. Let's go. There are entire decks based off of what my opening hand does, but then I also have a combo in here somewhere. Fun stuff. Oh god, more Cascade business. This one is probably going to be Rhinos, though. Living End doesn't usually play Gemstone Cavern. I have seen it in some of the spicier lists, but this is a Rhino card more than it's a Living End card. Yeah, and Fury is not in Living End. So they pitched Fury to Gemstone Cavern. We're playing against Rhinos here. And they suspended a Rhino. We know everything. Gonna fetch Ketria Triumph. Scalding Tarn, pass. Hope they go for a can of Rhinos. Then I can counter and play Fable. The Rhinos are not as important as the Living End is. Like, it is what their deck does, but like, you can sculpt your whole game plan around making sure the Cascade spell doesn't resolve, but this deck can do other stuff. Ooh. Got a little too excited about their Gemstone Cavern start. 2 footfalls, missing a land drop. I think I want Steam Vents here. That turns on E-Command if I draw it. And I'm going to play Fable here. If they spike their land drop, they pretty clearly kept this hand based on something. But Fable's in. Oh, okay. Fable's not in. Pitching Shardless Agent, so they have another Cascade spell in their hand. If they hit the land here, we're probably in trouble. Maybe just miss on that, please. Cool, they missed on that, please. Ran in 6. I would rather Fable. They had 2 Crashing Footfalls in their opener. I have 2 Fables in my opener. It's all fair and square at the end of the day. If they want to continue missing land drops, I'm not going to complain. If I get to untap with Mana Leak here, that's just fine with me. Are they going to pitch a Fury to stop 1 Goblin? Oh, wow. They just don't even want to play the game. My hand's not that good. Okay. And they had a set of 4/4s coming down next turn, and then another one the turn after that. Like, it at least make me present the win. That was an early scoop. I don't like it. Okay, Flusterstorm coming in. This is a Force of Negation deck, but it's not a Grief deck. It's a Brazen Borrower deck. Veil doesn't stop Subtlety. They are a Fury deck. Lightning Bolt does more against this deck than it does against Living End. Iona naming green turns off the Footfalls and all of the Cascade enablers. Or naming blue to turn off interaction like we did last game. That is kind of a fun tool to have. I'm interested. They're an Endurance deck. If they choose to have their Endurances in, they're also a Blood Moon deck. That's what they're going to do against me. Abundant Growth, get in here. Okay, let's hope this bug has been fixed on Magic Online, because it's going to be important if they moon me. The Seiju is also for moons. I don't think I have room for Iona if all this is going on. 6 cards to cut. Lightning Bolt kills exactly Fury and Shardless Agent. I guess Subtlety, Brazen Bar. It kills a lot of stuff. It lines up very poorly against Rhinos. This might be a stability over speed thing with Explorer, but Fire Ice doesn't do a lot either. It can help kind of get tempo back, but the Fire's not going to kill anything, and Ice will just tap a land once in a while. I think I'd rather be exploring than Fire Icing in this matchup. Yeah, I'm going to go for this. I got the Abundant Growth tech right away. I'm going to keep Abundant Growth and Explorer is pretty exciting here. Oh my god, my opponent mulled to 5 and conceded. Some people just don't have time to grind out a tough game. They conceded game 1 where they were at parity, maybe even ahead, and then didn't even want to play game 2. That's okay with me. It goes on the scoreboard all the same. We're 3-1. Let's go to the final round. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. On the draw with a 1-land Wrenn and Sixer. Let's do a land count. We got 24 of these puppies in the deck, which means there are 23 currently available to be drawn out of my 53 card deck. Slightly worse than a coin flip. I get 2 draw steps, and I have Spell Pierce in between, but I'm already on 6 because I'm holding Archon. I don't need to get greedy here. End it. Rewarded with a... Is this a reward? This hand sucks. I'm gonna keep it, but I'm not excited about it. Or I could chase 5. Like, this hand barely even mana leaks. I have to spend my Boseiju if I want a mana leak, which then slows down all my Dwarven Mines. The only thing my hand does is cast Creativity. I think I send this one as well. Okay. Rewarded for my patience. This 5 is better than the 6 and the 7. Get rid of an Archon, and the Transmogrify versus Bolt is interesting because there's lots of decks in the format where having 2 bolts will buy me the time I need to do something with Transmogrify, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to get anywhere with a YOLO Transmog. I just noticed my opponent's been mulling with me. They're actually down to 4. Okay. Please be hammer on 4 against my double bolt. Eldrazi. Let me tell you about Lightning Bolt versus Eldrazi creatures. It's not a good scene. Okay. How good is this hand? Okay. Cool. Okay, so I get to actually hold up Mana Leak next turn. If that's something I want to do. I'm going to get my Ketria Triome. Oh, sick. Okay, I am going to hold up Mana Leak. This is the Thought-Knot Seer turn. And if they just play a land and start activating Urza Saga, I mean, it's okay. I can start bolting the bros. Yep. Did that correctly. Proud of me. I'm gonna get Stomping Ground here. I think that's right. Put that away, please. I could have let it resolve and double bolted it, but that's a weirder exchange than just mana leaking their big creature. Needlessly weird is not my style. Red, green. It sucks that every fetch land, literally every fetch land, all three that I'm looking at are Bloodstained Mire. So if they Pithing Needle Bloodstained Mire, that's annoying. It's more likely they Needle Wrenn. If they go for Needle at all. Like maybe they just get like Expedition Map and try to play the game. I'm gonna fetch in response though to try to throw them off the trail. Okay, cool. They are making a construct. That construct will die to Lightning Bolt. And I'll let them do their search first. Because even if they search for something, then drop Darksteel Citadel from hand, the construct's still only 3/3. Card I've never seen in my life. Sacrifice Inscribed Tablet. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library, put a land card from them into your hand, and the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. If you didn't put a card in your hand this way, draw a card. Okay. So that is Ancient Stirrings for a colorless deck. That's what that does. That's cool, and it makes sense. I'm going to bolt this construct. Come on, Transmogrify. Oh my... sometimes you just draw the one of that you bottomed, that you specifically asked for in this exact moment. They would need Dismember. Like, literally exactly Dismember right now. They put Eldrazi Temple in their hand. Dwarven Mind comes in. I'm gonna transmog that into an Archon. Their 3-card hand is about to become a 2-card hand. Discarded Walking Ballista. Okay. Alright. Eldrazi Temple makes 6 Eldrazi mana this turn. They have 1 card that they've been protecting for the whole game. The Temple they tutored for last turn. And whatever they just drew. And that's not it. Okay. My Mull to 5 beat their Mull to 4. We'll take that. Eldrazi Tron is the name of the game. Boseiju looks good. I wish Iona could name colorless. That would be funny. That's not how that works, though. Colorless, not a color. Nature's Claim could find some targets in this matchup. I feel like I might just want to go over the top, though. Bring in my Boseiju to keep them off Tron and bring the Ruckus. I'm an over-the-top combo deck with the Explore package to ramp. I think that's just what I want to be doing. And I suspect Lightning Bolt is worse than Spell Pierce overall in this matchup. We did see Walking Ballista and Matter Reshaper as targets for Lightning Bolt. Spell Pierce really early against Tron decks can be a hammer. Yeah, this is all I'm doing. Let's do this thing. Okay, we have another one of these kind of crappy hands, though it does Spell Pierce on turn 2, and I can ice my way up to Fable. I'm actually going to keep this. Now that I know the matchup, I know that I'm not going to get run over by Burn. I don't mind a hand like this. They stopped at 6 this time. The Inscribed Tablet. Let's see Meyer go. Hope I get a juicy target for Spell Pierce this turn. I'll snap off on an Expedition Map or basically anything here. The Stone Brain. Yep, that counts. Team Vents. Would like to pay 2 life and Spell Pierce this, please. They are 2/3 of the way to Tron with a tablet on the board. That's a little bit scary. And I do need an untapped land if I'm gonna ice. Yikes. Okay. Didn't get there. Let's see what's left in their grip here. Tablet does cost mana, though. What are they missing? Tower? There's no tower here. There's a mine. Cool. Okay, they missed on that. Come on, untap land. Let's get a Fable in here. Shit. I could ice now and try to hit my land drop or ice on their turn. I'm not doing anything with 1 land, so I'll ice on their turn. Ice your power plant. Oh my god. And drawing the Persist does something, which is if I go to hand size and put an Archon in the graveyard, I have a path to get it. Oh, I'm about to cast Fable, so that's the same thing. Yeah. Fetchland does the work here that I need done. Blood Crypt. Fable. Okay. We are chilling. They are on Thought Not Seer. If over there, they're on Tower Goes Nuts. No chance I'm interacting with this thing right now. Yeah, Thought Not probably takes Persist, though I have a route to Archon in a variety of different ways here. It's got to be Persist, right? That's the cleanest way to the Archon that I have. I have to find a land if I'm going to transmog into it. They have natural insulation to an Archon trigger because they have Matter Reshaper. Oh, they took Transmogrify. So do they have Graveyard Hate? I mean, that's face up. That's wild if they just have nothing here. To discard Archon and one of these Wrens. And for turn and Persist. And I told you I have this. You saw it. Shaper triggers. Discarded another Shaper and revealed Cavern of Souls. All right, that's not nothing. Eldrazi. I'm going to get a Wren into play here. Stomping Ground. They drop a Seiju, but they don't have Tron anyway. I can wait on that and start Beseijuing them next turn. No legendary creatures. I actually would have sent Goblin in if I had a legendary creature, just to make sure they don't get Tron this turn. All right, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana for Eldrazi spells that creatures can't be countered from. They could All Is Dust here. That would be kind of rough. But any creature they play is going to have to be able to beat Archon. Karn the Great Creator. Okay. Beseiju's in my hand. Can they get here? Like, Ensnaring Bridge and try to plan for next turn? Is there some removal spell? Yeah, it's Ensnaring Bridge for next turn. That's not going to save them. 2 Beseijus, you don't say. Do I have another untapped green source in the deck? No, I didn't think so. There's just one Stomping Ground. Don't have a Triumph in play. I could play one of these Beseijus. Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. I get a treasure token, which doesn't work unless Karn's gone. If I attack Karn, they can sacrifice him to the Archon trigger instead of the Thought Not Seer. Do I care? I think I'm going to attack my opponent with Archon and Karn with Goblin. This way they can decide if they want to lose Karn. I mean, I want them to sack Thought Not, because I can finish off Karn with my Wren activation. Cool. I get to draw a card when Thought Not dies. Lightning Bolt. And Fire Ice. Karn's at 1. Wren deals 1 damage to Karn. Just make sure I don't have lethal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could deal 6 to my opponent right now. That's not enough. Ping the Karn. I'm holding up 2 Beseijus here. They have 1 card in hand and it's Ensnaring Bridge, so I don't care if they get Tron, because they only have 1 thing to do with it anyway. They look pretty dead to me. All Is Dust remains the card I'm worried about. And I guess I could have Beseiju the Temple to keep them. They would only have 6 mana, and we know they're 1 card in hand, so they can't draw both land and All Is Dust. So yeah, I think it would have been right to Beseiju the land. Anyway, they didn't spike the All Is Dust, if it's even a card they play. 4-1. Our loss was a stumble, a kind of speculative keep that didn't get there against Burn, which is built to punish stumbles. So pretty strong showing for the league. Explorer was solid multiple times. Mana Leak was, I think, the hero of this league. Everybody's ready for Spell Pierce. That's just a regular card in the format, but curving Spell Pierce up into Mana Leak or having both, that felt really good. And we're not goofing around with Planeswalkers. We're not really doing anything except shoving our Archons into play. This list kind of reminds me of the bell curve meme, where like the 0 IQ is like, LOL, shove creativity. And then the height of the bell curve is like, no, we need to dance and interact with Teferi and Leyline Binding. It's a long control game where we shove Archon. And then the 160 IQ, LOL, shove Archon. We're somewhere on the front or back of that bell curve, but it worked. We delivered Archons early and often. The deck has a lot of interaction on the way up. Explorer was cool when it mattered. Mana Leak was great. The 1 Persist came up. Iona came up multiple times. We never reached for the Emrakul. That seems mostly for mill. We had the Abundant Growths against the Blood Moon deck. It didn't come up, but we had them. And I played a bunch of Creativity in paper. It was like my real deck that I took to tournaments for a while, and I got off it because I was sick of losing to Blood Moon. And having 3 Abundant Growth in your sideboard as just a cantripping, proactive way to ignore Blood Moon is really cool. It does eat up a lot of sideboard slots, but the thing that you struggle to beat in this format is Blood Moon, and it makes sense to have 3 additional answers to Blood Moon, plus 3 ways to ignore it in your deck. Just really cool tech there. And I don't have much more to say about this. It did the thing. Rug with just a touch of black, Creativity, no white, no Teferi, no Leyline Binding. Who needs them? Solid 4/1 performance. And can't be mad about it. Mr. Skittles, thank you for sharing this cool take on Creativity with us. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon and the links in the channel description, video description, and I'll see you next time.